Alright, so here's my signing roster of 10 personnel. Alright, and then here are them by one. Specialist Anderson, Private Berwanger, Specialist Greer, Specialist Osana, Private Browder, Specialist Carter, Sergeant Longman, Specialist Franklin, Specialist Carvajal, and Sergeant Kessler. Too easy. Alright, so it's on same thing. Whenever it gets to that minute mark, let me know so I can start.
You got 30 seconds on it.
I got 30 seconds still? Alright, that's fine.
You want me to zoom in so it gets a better view if you start?
Okay. Let's step up.
10.
Alright, good evening everybody. So I know for a fact that everyone in this room right now has two things. Driver's license and a cell phone. The driving experience ranging in this room range from anywhere between 3 years to 15 years, approximately. And with that experience, we all know that using a cell phone while driving is against the law. Yet, we still do it. Why is that? But Sergeant, it's only to put out certain info. It's to put out a certain text, important information real quick. I could do it. It's too easy. I could juggle it around. Can you? Can you really? The law doesn't have a whoops factor to prevent you from being charged with a fatal accident for cell phone use while driving. As law enforcement officers, we all understand the severity and the extreme risk given to this scenarios. By the end of this speech, I challenge each and every one of you to challenge your peers and your subordinates and your leadership to not drive while using their cell phone. Most of my information has been given from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the distraction.gov, the National Safety Council, and NewJersey.com. Before we can get into any other matter, I want to go over some numbers and statistics with you to highlight the severity of this infraction. According to the National Safety Council, every 30 seconds there's a crash involving a driver using a cell phone. According to the distraction.gov, 10% of all drivers 20 years old or younger are reported as a distracted driver at the time of the crash. And to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 5%, or in a specific number, 660,000 vehicles in 2011 were driven by people who used handheld cell phones at a typical daylight moment. Those numbers are staggering, and that's not supposed to be happening. And now to highlight the severity of these infractions, I'm going to talk about two cases where people were fatally wounded. Let's talk about Jennifer Sahoya. On October 10, 2013, Jennifer was texting and driving while she veered off into the next lane and killed Carlos Cavarjo. Carlos Cavarjo was ejected from his pickup after it flipped multiple times and police announced him dead on scene. Jennifer was then released on a $50,000 bail and now faces up to a 10-year maximum prison sentence. Now let me discuss with you Angeli Paredes. Alright? Angeli was with her mom on July 31st, 2013 in West New York next to a bus stop. The bus driver, while using a cell phone, lost control of the bus, jumped a curb, hit two lampposts, one striking Angeli, also hit a tree and multiple parked cars. By the time police arrived, they found Angeli's mom crying frantically for her daughter because she was bleeding from the head. Later that day, Angeli was pronounced dead. Oh, let me read back that for you. Angeli was 8 months old. When she was hit with the lamppost, she was in a walker. Just think about that. To summarize what we discussed today, we discussed over numbers and statistics in regards to cell phone use while driving, and I discussed briefly 2 cases where they were fatally injured. Why do people keep on doing this if the results could be so severe against innocent individuals? This probably won't be the last time that you receive a brief on cell phone use while driving. But don't you think that's what the drivers of these 2 cases were thinking about? Why didn't they take it serious? Are you going to take this brief serious? I challenge you to do so. Everyone look around one another and go ahead and say no more. No more are you going to allow this incident to happen. According to the National Safety Council, at 11:13 in the morning, local time, the number of accidents using a driver with a cell phone was 680,251. What would have Angelique's life been like if she wasn't struck by that lamppost? What would have Carlos Cavarro's life been like? Maybe he would have grew up to see his grandkids live their own lives. What if it was your dad or your kid that would have been in that incident? The time to act is now. The time to act and intervene is now, amongst your peers, amongst one another. And if everyone wants to do so, this would help mitigate and reduce the numbers of infractions using cell phone use while driving. The time to act is now. Thank you for your time, and let me see that shit. Alright. Yes, alright. So there's one, Specialist Anderson again, Private Burnwanger, Specialist Greer, Specialist Osana, Private Browder, Specialist Carter, Sergeant Longman, Specialist Franklin, Specialist Hall, and Sergeant Kessler.